I want to give feedback and suggestion out of this painful life experience. On the 21st night last month, I dropped a passenger opposite Block 55 from Avenue 10. Suddenly I feel vomiting and giddiness. I came out of my taxi, which is parked about 50 meters away from a bus stop. I roll on the crossroads and I start to vomit. I raised my hand for help, but I saw people coming up and down the bus stop, but nobody cares about me. For half an hour, but finally there is a young couple. They came, they called the police, they called the ambulance. But before the police and the ambulance arrived, the young man told his girlfriend, I'm not going to be involved. You deal with the police, I am going away. But worst of all is that out of the blue, two strangers came. They robbed me and take away all my wallet, which contained all my nice taking as well as all the important documents. I want to read this story to all of you to show how I'm carrying a bochap as a Singaporean. Therefore, we must at national level raise an awareness of care and create a culture in all Singapore to look out for one another. Not to do this is not an option, because as I strongly believe that at the end of the day, it is the hardware of our people that will bring our country into greatness.
Thank you, Mr. Loong. I'm sorry to hear of your misfortune. I'm glad to see that you're recovered and well now. I think what you described is something which often happens in a big city, where people don't know one another, and when you see a stranger, you're not sure whether to go and help or not, because maybe you will get into trouble. I think I can understand that psychology, but if all Singaporeans feel like that, then we have a problem, because we can't all be strangers with one another. The education, the inculcation of values, newspapers and so on, which you describe, I think are all ways we try to help to teach people the right instincts and habits. But one very important factor is whether or not we really have a community where people feel that they know one another, that they are friends. So if you are in a small village or in a small town where people interact more intensively, I think the instinct to go and help is more natural, because you probably know the person and you feel more closer together emotionally, and you don't feel that if you go in and try to help, you might get robbed or you might get into trouble. And that's what we have been trying to do with the grassroots in all our constituencies. Well, our RCs, our neighborhood committees. The purpose is not just to do Tai Chi and brisk walking, although that's good. The purpose really is to have neighbors care for one another and look out for one another. And when something goes wrong with your neighbor, you do call for help, or go and help yourself, or call the police and let the police know. And I think although we have not reached a complete graduation standard in terms of community mutual help, we have made some progress. I say that because if you look at the police experience in Singapore, the police tell me that when they come across a case and they're investigating the case, they often get quite a lot of cooperation from the public. People are prepared to come forward to give evidence. They may or may not be so keen to appear in court, because then there's publicity and they worry for their families. But the police are able to solve a large number of cases in Singapore because of the cooperation of the public. And that's something which has been built up over many years amongst Singaporeans, because of the good work of the police, but also because of the way we've built our society together. So I hope that more and more people will feel like that, and in cases like yours, where you're helpless on the roadside, more Good Samaritans will come to help. The other subjects you discussed, like your Singapore, I think that would take me a long time to go into. If somebody else raises it later, maybe we can talk about them too. But I think this was your most important point.